Major League Baseball trade deadline just happened, or is happening on July 31st. So today's the 26th. 27, 28, 29, 30, no. Yeah, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. So Friday is going to be the day of the actual like trade deadline when all the big stuff happens. Right now, I'm kind of expecting the Mariners to be pretty active. We've just announced that we've made Dylan Moore active or available for trade. Dylan Moore was the utility Gold Glove winner last year. Been on the team since about 2019, so he's got about 6 years of experience. He's under contract next year, I think. Not 100% sure on his contract status for next year, but with all of that, there's a lot to think about with what the Mariners can do. We traded Brendan Garcia, a reliever, and then another reliever who was like our 17th ranked prospect, for Zach Naylor. And Zach Naylor actually cost the Mariners a win earlier in the season in Arizona when he hit a walk-off grand slam. And the reason he cost the Mariners the game was because he was winning for his team, which is, good. You want them to win. You want your team to win, and hitting a walk-off grand slam is always interesting. Zach Naylor actually only has 95 career home runs, so if he hits 5 on the Mariners, he'll be our second guy to hit his 100th home run with us. The other one was Randy Arozarena this year. Cal hit his 100th last year, and I don't think Julio's hit 100 yet, or he's just about at 100. Julio the other day actually became the first player in MLB history to do 15 homers and 20 steals in his first 4 seasons, each of his first 4 seasons. He's up to 17 home runs right now. If Julio can continue being like a 2020 or a 2030 guy, he's going to be... oh, hi. India's a pretty cool place. I'd like to actually go there someday. Right now, it's a money thing. I can't afford to really travel anywhere. But I'd love to actually go there. I've seen some really cool stuff, learned some interesting stuff about India when I had my global history class. Hello, how are we doing? But yeah, I learned some interesting stuff about India when I had my global history class in high school, and then I took a world civilization class in college. Hello. We talked about cookies. Cookie Monster's actually the Grand Marshal for the Brickyard 400 tomorrow, and I think that's wild. We actually talked about Egypt. What's wrong? Mail must be here, and that's the dog going wild because she's protecting the house. You know how dogs are. They protect the house and they bark at things. She's a blue heeler. If you don't know what blue heelers are, they're if you ever watch Bluey, they're that type of dog. They're Bluey, which is cool. Also called Australian cattle dogs. I'm gonna hold on a minute. I was watching Netflix. I don't really do the pirating because I don't really trust that, but yeah. Oh, yeah, get your phone charged. You don't want to have an emergency and it not to be there. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, the really interesting thing I see as the MLB trade deadline is Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge might need Tommy John. I hope he doesn't need Tommy John. But they're saying that Aaron Judge has an elbow injury. They're saying that Aaron Judge has an elbow injury, and he had some struggles thrown from the outfield yesterday. He's out of the lineup for the Yanks today, and because of that, I'm pretty worried about what might happen. Judge, right fielder, Yankees, 6.8 wins above replacement, second or third in the league in RBIs and home runs. I don't know where Gino hits right now. And then Cal is actually second in home runs right now. Or not home runs. Cal's first in home runs, but second in RBIs. And Cal's kind of been in a slump, but I don't know what the Yankees do here. If Judge has to have some sort of ankle injury, or not ankle injury, if Judge has to have some sort of surgery or anything, Judge is going to be potentially DHing for the rest of the year. And you have Giancarlo Stanton, who's the permanent DH. And I don't know what you do about that. You could trade for a right fielder. There's right fielders all out there. You could call up a right fielder. You don't put Giancarlo Stanton in right field. That's one of the dumbest ideas you could ever have. You just simply don't do that. Because, that's cool. But yeah, you don't do that. You just hold on. I gotta get the computer on real quick. And I gotta move some stuff around. I'm gonna check on MLBTradeRumors.com real quick. See if there's anything interesting coming up. There's a few things that I've been thinking about with MLBTR. Like obviously they broke the news of the Naylor trade. For me, I didn't actually see the Passan tweet until after, which was, whatever, that I didn't see that. But what? There's Chrome. The idea that Judge could be gone for a while is really making me interested in what's going to happen with the Yankees. Phillies, oh dear. Phillies are interested in Eugenio Suarez. That's going to be interesting. The Diamondbacks just announced that they are sellers this year, which I was surprised by. Oh, because it's off. The fact that the Diamondbacks are sellers this year is surprising to me. Phillies have had talks with the Diamondbacks about third baseman Eugenio Suarez, according to Scott Lauber of the Philadelphia Inquirer. And, that was Amazon. Potential fit for the Phils. In between Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. Yeah, you know what? I could see it. Hello, Jories. I don't really... Rockies select Bernabel, okay. Oh, the guy's name is Warming Bernabel. And he is expected to make his debut tonight. He's a 23-year-old infielder. Yes, Texas is a state. I'm okay. Rockies are trying something. Trevor Richards got DFA'd because Brandon Garcia. What? Yep. Brandon Garcia was called up from AAA. He had options left. Okay. Rays deck is designate Coco Montes for assignment. Phillies acquire Brewer Hicklin. Okay, not a big deal there. Aaron Judge undergoing testing for elbow injury. That's the big thing. That's the really big thing going on. Rays acquire Tristan Gray from the White Sox. That's a pretty interesting trade that the Chicago got cash in return. So, not a big trade there. Cubs want Hauser. Luis Robert has a 982 OPS over his last 43 PAs. But his WRC plus over the season is 77. So that's a big, big risk. I don't know what you do with that. I really don't know what you do with a guy who has a 77 WRC plus. Pirates not committed to trading Mitch Keller. All this is from MLBTR. One thing that I was really excited about yesterday was when the Yankees acquired Ryan McMahon from the Rockies, because that meant a couple of things. That meant that the Yankees were not going to be acquiring Eugenio Suarez. because they didn't have what it took to get Eugenio Suarez, which meant that the Mariners also weren't going to be getting McMahon. McMahon's in for $32 million over the next 2 seasons after this one. You know, I've never played Red Dead Redemption or Red Dead Redemption 2. It's something that I'm thinking about playing, but like I've never gotten around to it. I've been playing a lot of the MLB the show right now. In my Houston is our state and Texas is we at leaving. What? I just got called up in my third base save for a Road to the Show. And then in my pitcher Road to the Show, I got called up a while ago, and I'm in the second year of a 15-year contract with the Mariners at age 18 plus 6 is 24. At age 26, and I just hit my 3,000th strikeout. Whatever that last chat message is, I'm not actually a redhead. That's actually purple dye that went wrong because I put it on top of blue dye. That was interesting. Being a redhead would be cool. I'm thinking about what I want to do with my hair next. I got a lot of stuff to do over the next few weeks before school starts. But yeah, for the Mariners, I think there's going to be a few things for the Mariners in terms of trades. Mariners top 30. No, not top 3, top 30. Mariners top prospects, MILB.com. So, Colt Emerson, he's at high A. He's at A+, and his expected arrival is 2026. Montez, expected arrival in 2026. Harry Ford, being at AAA, he's expected to get into the majors this year, and by all intents and purposes, he is ready. And I absolutely see him not making it out of the not making it on the organization's plans after this year, because keeping him as like a backup to Cal Raleigh as a replacement for Mitch Garver is like, why? I see him going and getting traded for somebody with 2 to 3 years of team control. Our ambidextrous pitcher, he's at A. He's not expected to make the majors until 27. I think he's an untouchable. I think Tyler Locklear either gets traded or, hello, Nini. I think Tyler Locklear either gets traded or gets called up, and Donovan Solano ends up getting DFA'd. Hello, no one walk in my shoes. Didn't Jesus say something about if somebody makes you walk a mile in their shoes, walk 2, or something like that? Looking at some of the other, like Carlos Jimenez, 2028. I don't see all of them, like Duell Joseph, who's in rookie ball. I don't see that being a trade trip. But I see a couple of trade trips here. I see maybe Colton Lazaro and Harry Ford. I see Locklear and Ty Pete potentially. Yorger Batista potentially being a trade candidate because he's under team control until at least 2032. Jeter Martinez is a maybe, but I'd like to see Jeter Martinez actually stay in the Mariners system. Juan Burgos, potentially, although I do believe he actually came up and played in the majors this year. Did he? No, he didn't. I thought he might have, so he didn't yet. Some people buy used shoes. Yes, that's true. You can buy used shoes at the thrift store. And I think that's a really cool thing that you can do. Because, like, obviously, if you're done with the shoes, you outgrow the shoes, it's really cool that you can just go to the thrift store. Obviously, other people buy used shoes for other reasons, but that's something we talk about on the Battle Pass, which is, a thing. Same username, by the way. which is 100% a thing that people have. What did I do? Oh no! But yeah, I really see the Mariners being kind of active in the trade deadline. Jerry Dipoto has been one of the most active GMs, presidents of baseball operations the last, decade that he's been on the Mariners. We only have one playoff appearance with him, though, and that was the 2022 playoff appearance, and it's not great. Not great. I had to pull it away because I was looking away, yeah. Lots of different things. I am going to reject the NFL's optional cookies. Okay, so good news out of Bills training camp. James Cook, the Mariners need help. If it were up to me, we would trade for one more impact bat, probably at first base. Hello, Marlone. I would say probably at first base or somewhere in the infield, or somebody who can DH, or somebody who can play shortstop so that JP can just DH every day, and we just keep Mitch as like a backup catcher, and that's it. Obviously, like, you understand your backup catcher, even though he's making like $16 million this year, you understand your backup catcher's not just there to provide that big offensive spark. You can bat him in the 8-hole, the 9-hole. A lot of times catchers aren't necessarily the biggest one. I'd also trade for at least one or two high-leverage relievers. Obviously, that might not be possible. Depending on what's available. I'd probably bring Master Boney back up. But that's really going to depend on what happens with Donovan Solano and what happens with the trades over the next couple of weeks. Master Boney's on his last option year, so that's fine. Oh, Texans Joe Mixon expected to be out until at least week 1. Okay, Dolphins sign Mike Hilton and Jack Jones as injuries hit the secondary. Breece Hall's not expecting a extension. Just reading headlines. Jared Goff's looking good. Okay, I'm excited by that. The big thing I'm really excited by is James Cook is actually playing or participating in Bills training camp, and I was worried that he wasn't, just simply because of the way that it felt with James Cook. He wants like 16, 17 million a year. He wants to be the highest paid or second highest paid running back after Saquon and Henry. And Henry's not really... Henry's on the older end of his career, and I feel like there's some problems with paying Henry as much as they do, but it is what it is. Oh no. Oh no. Bleacher Reporter's reporting just now that Treylon Burks might have a broken collarbone from the Titans. Broken collarbones take a while to heal and is not fun at all. Ooh. Oh, that's not fun. Vikings got an extension going. Jackson Dart, moving jet ski. Shamar Stewart and the Bengals have reached an agreement on a 4-year, fully guaranteed $18.7 million contract that includes a $10.4 million signing bonus per his agent. So that's pretty cool. All right. I'm surprised that So it does. I'm doing well. I don't know much Spanish. I just know that hola, ¿cómo estás? Means hello, how are you? I took a little bit of Spanish in high school. Not enough to be like conversational in it. I think I know hola, ¿cómo estás? And de dónde está la biblioteca, which is where's the library. Which, like, where's the library is a useful thing, because often the library is a place where you can go and be your just enjoying things and just do everything you can do. They're coming for your money. What? Excuse me. Advice on getting back in touch with a distant family. Okay. I don't have a distant family, but I would say that the first thing I would do is, reach out to them, maybe check out on Facebook, Twitter, or any social media, if they're on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. Maybe try to reach out to them through there, see if they have an email, and then go and try to talk to them for that. And if they don't want to talk to you, just leave it be. It's 100% their right to not want to talk to you. And you got to be ready for that possibility. Oh, I would definitely try to reach out. Because, yeah, if you're going to be an aunt, and you should definitely try to reach out, because that's, like, an important thing in your life. You're about to be, like, that's like a big step in your life in addition to their life. Obviously, they're going to be a parent. They're going to be, you said, your brother. I would say, hey, is there any big news you want to reach out to me, so that way you can't be like implicating somebody else in something? What? Apparently the Hornets just won the Summer League championship. Interesting. Well, you can check out my battle pass, Sammy5436. I also have a Cameo, Sammy5436. They're the same price, actually. My Cameo is interesting because I offer fantasy football draft stuff and all that. So a lot of times during this time of year, I'll get like, hey, pick out my fantasy football draft, all that stuff, which is super cool and fun. I might do a fantasy football league this year. I don't know. I was thinking about doing fantasy baseball, but yeah. I don't have any sponsorships with, like, Daily Fantasy or anything. I don't have any sponsorships at all because, I don't know how useful it is for, what? I really don't know how useful it is for any sort of like, hang on, I gotta put the computer away real quick. But yeah, I don't know how useful it is to try to get a sponsorship right now, because my channel's got, 4,800 subs, which, like, I'm really proud of myself for that, and I'm really, really grateful to all you guys who sub, all you guys who like and share and all that stuff. And my Twitch channel's got, 100, but I barely use it because, I'm 6'3", huh? 6'3" is 6'3" is a pretty big height. I think that's Steph Curry's height. I'd say Steph Curry is probably my favorite basketball player. I really started watching the NBA when Steph started doing the threes. I don't really like dunking. I couldn't tell you why. I just don't enjoy dunking. It's just not a thing I enjoy. And you can enjoy dunking. I know the WNBA doesn't really from. Is that Israel or Argentina? I can't tell, but thank you. I want to go to a foreign country to just vacation for a week. Israel, cool. Probably Canada is the one that I'd most like. Canada or Mexico, because they're just Canada's real close. Mexico's at least close to America. So I could go ahead and hop down there for a little bit, but Canada's super close being up here. And Canada would be fun. to um well, I'm a citizen. I was born here. But yeah, the whole ICE thing is just a whole thing. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I know there's a whole thing. I don't know how to really help other than like, some of the stuff I've seen, but I don't know how to stop it. Obviously, I'm just one person, so I can like talk about it and everything, but yeah. Um I was looking I was looking at my analytics on YouTube the other day, and I have more views but less watch time this year than last year, which is fine. It's totally fine. I'm about 500 hours of watch time shorter this year than I was last year, but that's because I post more long form videos this year. Oh, thank you. I want to dye it purple again, but I don't really have time. I have time. It's just I don't have time because over the next month I got to go get some oral surgery. I got to go get an MRI, and I got to go to the neurologist. And all of that's like a real pain in the butt to try to like do. Yeah, that's what I try to do, educate. Marrying for citizenship. I don't know how that even works right now. I don't like I genuinely don't know. Like I genuinely like don't know. I'm not married, and I don't think I want to get married just because like there's so many things that can go wrong with marriage, and then like what if you have to get a divorce? Also, what happens if you marry somebody as a non-citizen and you become a citizen and then you get divorced for XYZ reason? What happens? I don't actually know. I don't want to find out, but I kind of do want to find out because it wouldn't like directly affect me. It would affect everybody else. It affect the people. But yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Don't dye it. It's already dyed. This isn't my natural color. My natural color is a brown. And I don't really like having brown hair because it's closer to a black than a brown. Because I don't know, it just is. It just is. Mom's hair is black. Dad's hair is like a dark black. And then Grandma and Grandpa right now have gray hair because Grandpa's 84 and Grandma's 78. Grandpa's on hospice, and it's been a trip with Grandpa on hospice. He's been on hospice since October. So what happened with Grandpa is, so, I'm sitting at home, get a call from my mom. Hey, I need you to do this for me. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, cool, I can do that. What's up? She's like, yeah, I gotta go and take Grandpa to the VA. He's bleeding in his urine. And it's like, okay, yep, I got you. Whatever you need, let's go check that out. So Grandpa was in Vietnam. So Mom and Grandpa head up to the VA, emergency room, all that. They do some tests. They're like, it might be a UTI, but we want to go to urology and do like the scope. And they're like, we'll just do that as like you can come back. We'll test this, see if it works. And then it doesn't work. The antibiotic doesn't work. They go to urology. They go to the scope. I'm not there. Mom and Grandpa are there. Grandma's at her house. Grandma's at her house. Yeah, Grandpa was actually a medic in Vietnam. So, super stressful job. But then they stick the scope in there. I don't imagine that feels good. But like they numb you up, and apparently they stick the scope in there. And then the doctor comes out, and it's not just and this is Mom told me this. The doctor comes out, goes up to Mom, and has a second doctor. So Mom's like, something must be wrong. Turns out the second doctor, they had the urologist, and the second doctor was oncology, which is cancer. So the doctor's like, listen, he has bladder cancer, and what we could do is we can go in there and we can like cut it all out, cut his bladder out, take some stuff out the bowels, and like make a new bladder. But he's 84 years old, 83 years old at the time. And the risks of that are he could die from the anesthesia. He could never make another memory because of the dementia. He could just die from other complications. That's one option. And the other option, and I already called and made the referral, is to go on hospice. And Mom was like, all right. Because Mom's like one of Grandpa's healthcare proxies and Grandma's the other one. Because Grandpa's got real bad dementia. So they call Grandma and they're like, this is what's up, blah, 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 blah. Grandma's like, all right, let's go on hospice. He gets in-home hospice care and a home health aide. 56 hours a week. 11 to 7, Sunday to Saturday. So like 56 or 58 hours a week. And realistically, those home health aides, their job's pretty easy. In terms of like how much like physical care they have to give Grandpa. They got to change him when he's wet or poopy. They gotta like feed him twice a day. They're not allowed to give him medicine. Only Grandma or me or Mom is allowed to give him medicine. And then sometimes and then they gotta like help out with the cooking and the cleaning. What's up? I was talking about the trade deadline, and then I started talking about my grandpa. Matter of fact, I got to talk to Mom later about Grandpa. It's Mom's dad. So yeah, I got to talk to her about it and be like, hey, what's going on? Any new updates? I try to get an update every 2 to 3 days. Yeah, if your BP fell off, go see a doctor. I try to get an update every 2-3 days from Mom. Sometimes she just updates me like every day because like, super easy. Sorry about that. Somebody tried to call me. I didn't turn on the do not disturb. It was an 800 number, probably some telemarketer. I don't like telemarketing. So Grandpa's actually gone through a bunch of home health aides because a bunch of them stole from Grandma. One of them stole $2,500, a panini maker, and a bread maker. How's my grandpa now? He's on hospice. He's not going to survive. He's been on hospice for about 9 months with the cancer and everything. So right now it's just comfort care. The home health aides come in. He's bedbound. So he watches TV a lot. Since he's got dementia, we try to put on the TV that he liked when he was a kid or when, like... Yeah, it was a real hell of a combination to steal. So, and we didn't even find out about the bread maker or the panini maker. So one of Grandma's friends had a house fire and they lost a lot of stuff. And Grandma was like, I don't use my panini maker. I don't use my bread maker. So she told my mom to go in the basement and get the panini maker and the bread maker and, donate them. Donate it to the friend. Which, like, try to do a good deed. And Mom goes down there and she's like, there's no bread maker and there's no panini maker. So Grandma with her like needing a cane, hunched over, goes down into the basement and she's like, what do you mean there's no, it's right here. And then Grandma looks it right there and it's like, no, it's not. It's not. And then the aide, interestingly, Grandma was like, how do you steal out of the basement? And the aide, who was the thief, explained how you steal out of the basement. She was like, oh yeah, you just go to the garage with the stuff and then you take it out to your car when you take the trash out. And that's how they found out. And then Grandma got her bank statement and was like, yo, I didn't write these checks. And then we found out that it was that aide, which was really, really messed up because she also dropped Grandpa on the floor. So I think it's a Hoyer lift is what it's called. It's one of those lifts where like the patient stands up and like it lifts them up and you move them like that. And like she didn't really know how to use it. And she put him on it, and it didn't work. And he ends up on the floor. Grandma can't get him up. Mom can't get him up. I can't get him up. No, nobody can get him up, so we have to call the fire department. And the fire department comes, gets him up. The next day, the hospice team comes, and the hospice team's like, he's not allowed out of bed anymore. This is not okay. Because at the time, what we were trying to do was take him from his bedroom to the living room, have him sit in a chair, sit there, watch TV with grandma or whoever was over, and then go to the kitchen to have a meal and then come back. Sometimes he would eat in the living room, but we didn't like doing that because sometimes he would, he's in diapers. So, like, that made the chair dirty. So we didn't like doing that. We liked having him to eat somewhere where it wasn't clean. Where it was clean, not where it was dirty. But obviously, like, when you're on hospice, sometimes things don't work the same way. As of right now, he's alive. He has a lot of pain, so he takes the pain medication, and grandma is, monitoring that with the hospice team. They come and monitor him. The nurse comes about twice a week right now. I was there on Wednesday, and I'll be there on Monday, because so grandma doesn't drive, and then grandpa can't be left alone. And when there's no aid, somebody from the family goes. Mom usually drives her, and then one of the rest of us goes and just sits with grandpa for a little bit. And that's super easy. Like, since it'll be 9 o'clock on Monday, it's not going to be, it's not even going to be anything bad. More so just interesting because it's the cardiologist, which is pretty far away, so I'll probably be there till like 10:30, 11. Which is fine. I'll get to see the aide, cook grandpa's food. He eats oatmeal, eggs, muffins, and orange. Either oranges or clementines, which is nice. He gets a nice breakfast and a nice dinner. He eats 2 meals a day. He drinks a lot of water, which is good because he's got bladder cancer, kidney stones, all sorts of other stuff. All sorts of other stuff like that, and yeah. So I'll be there Monday and possibly one more time next. I don't know if I have to go on Wednesday. I got to talk to my mother about that. And then my mother's having surgery at the end of next month, so I got to help with that. She is having knee surgery. She tore her meniscus and fractured a bone in the knee, which ain't fun. Oh, you do not want to tear your meniscus or fracture a bone, but she did it. Other stuff that's really been going on. I had a job last week. Well, it was a weird situation. So, I'm in grad school. So I got this job. I got hired at this job for a call center. And the call center was supposed to be debt collections for mortgages. And then I ended up having a panic attack on the way there. So I ended up just quitting, like, before I even started. And then I got this other job at a hotel. And it was supposed to be a banquets coordinator thing, which was, whatever. Basically going from booking to the execution of the banquet, whatever. So I go, my first day I get there, they're like, we're going to give you a tour. And the person who gives me a tour, hello, Boris? The person who gives me a tour is like, hey, hold on, I got to call 911. And I'm like, what? But then I'm like, stuff happens at hotels. I'm not too worried. Apparently somebody had a whole situation up in their hotel room. They call 911, get them out of there. Later on, housekeeping goes up to the room. Housekeeping opens the room, calls down to the front desk manager, and is like, what do you want me to do about this? And they're like, just close the door, and we'll take care of it. And by we'll take care of it, we had to call an outside vendor. Because the room was covered in blood and poop. And with that, it was like, yeah, nobody here's qualified to touch that. So, yeah. Turns out the dude was in liver failure, and it was a whole situation. Whatever. Stuff happens. I don't get access to the email till noon, and I came in at 8. Okay. Cool. Whatever. And then I do the email stuff, whatever. And then on Thursday, I go in, and it's like, what do you mean it took 6 cops and 4 EMTs to get a lady on her stretcher, and you want us to go check out the room to see if there's anything there? And then we did, and we found galaxy gas, we found other paraphernalia, and it was just bad. It was just absolutely bad. And we figured out that why. She had alcohol in there. She had a whole bunch of stuff that when I looked up the drug interactions on all of it, I was like, oh, I don't want to be the emergency room physician treating her. And then the third day goes all right. Then the manager gets upset about nonsense, and it's like, okay, cool, whatever. But they tried to serve expired food, and it was a whole thing. Then on the fourth day, galaxy gas is laughing gas. Ozzy, no. That's what some people comment to try to to bait people into saying racial slurs. Say it really quickly, and you'll see. Yeah, it's a thing that people do. But Galaxy Gas, I don't know if you're familiar with World of T-Shirts. He did this on stream a little while ago. Galaxy Gas is nitrous oxide, which has legitimate medical uses. Like, the dentist will use it to sedate you and stuff. But with the stuff that she had going on, it was bad. And then on the fourth day, there's a wedding, and it's a whole disaster because it's 100 degrees, and the wedding's in the outside courtyard, and it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. And then somebody who's not the bride and groom cuts the wedding cake. So the wedding coordinator and us had to figure out how to fix it, and we did. And then I'm like going through a whole bunch of stuff, and then I got fired on Monday. And they're like, I think that they said they just think it wasn't going to work out, but I really think it was because I was questioning the fact that they were serving expired food. There were flies everywhere. Pretty sure the place had bed bugs. I can't prove it. I didn't see bed bugs. It just felt like there were bed bugs. But yeah, it felt like there were bed bugs. It felt like there were bed bugs. And I looked at a bunch of the reviews of the place, and it said there were bed bugs. And then on top of that, the manager was being racist, like, constantly. Like, the manager was being racist constantly. So there was I think it was Narcotics Anonymous came in. And they had a contract that said that they were going to be doing, like the whole banquet rooms, all the banquet rooms. They were going to get like 100 rooms for the hotel and all of that. And they were going to get 3 meats on their buffet and all of that stuff. And then the manager's just like mad because he's saying some racist stuff to these people. It was, the committee was just some African-American women who were really nice. They were really nice to me. They were really nice to my one coworker. They got upset with the manager, and I understand why. I absolutely understand why they got upset with the manager, because he was trying to go back on his word. They had a signed contract that said you're going to pay XYZ for that much. You're going to pay XYZ for this for the buffet. You're going to have XYZ thing. And they had a contract that he was trying to go back on it and say that they couldn't do it. And there was just like literally all that was left was to pay a final $538 payment. And then he almost cost the hotel $8,000. Cancel. Huh. Yeah, the fact that he almost cost the hotel $8,000 was... I hate the Democratic Party. They're some of the worst people in the history of the world. Oh yeah, multi-stream from that. Obviously you want dark mode. Well, what's that? Oh, yeah, that's for some interesting settings here. Gotta figure out the block button on YouTube. Oh, right, YouTube doesn't have a block button because it's the worst social media site I've ever seen. But yeah, alright. We've been here for about 45 minutes. And I'm gonna head off now. We'll see what happens tonight with things like the rest of the MLB trade deadline.